My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey, folks, welcome back. Today we got a special guest zooming in from Atlanta, Georgia. Our guest today is Leon Ezzell, and he is a very, very, very experienced real estate entrepreneur, especially when it comes to doing flips. But here's the big difference. Leon doesn't do the normal kind of flips, like the mom and pop, the 3-2, everybody kind of average home buyer type flip. He does high volumes of high-end flip. We're talking about properties that sell for over $1 million once they're renovated. So Leon, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Dave.
So Leon, maybe give us a quick little overview, a snapshot of your real estate investing endeavors today as of mid-September 2024. What do your various real estate investing endeavors kind of look like? What does the portfolio look like? What's your level of activity?
Okay, so we primarily flip. We renovate and resell. That's our primary focus.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a portfolio of short-term rentals as well. Not a big long-term rental guy. At one point years ago, I had multiple long-term rentals, but that was not just wasn't my thing, my gig, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but I am a pretty big fan of short-term rentals. So we do have a portfolio of those, and we're constantly building that portfolio of short-term rentals. I do a little bit of new construction. That's primarily tear down type projects. So in Atlanta and in Raleigh, Durham, where it's more of an infill. We'll buy the property, we'll tear it down, we'll build a new structure there, and do a little bit of modular new construction as well. So with modular housing, not manufactured, but true modular. So I've got my hands in a little bit of all of that. I have done a little bit of subdivisions from ground up as well.
Yeah.
But my big business, as far as for me, is the flipping and the rehabs. That's what I really enjoy, and that's what we do the most of. So.
And how long have you been doing that for, Leon?
So I have been in that segment of the industry for about 27 years, 28
Wow.
years. And I've been on the lending. I also run a mortgage company as well. We do traditional lending, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA. And I've been in that business for almost 30 years. So kind of running parallel with both of those for the last
All
30
lots
years.
of different real estate focused stuff. Very, very
Yeah.
cool. So Leon, did you start off way back in the day doing high-end flips, or did you do more traditional entry-level homes when you first got started?
Yes, entry level for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did probably. I'm going to say we started making a shift to the higher end homes just a few years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Really?
It's been
Okay.
relatively recent, and the reason for that is just simply a lot less competition. So there's a lot less competition that I see for the higher end homes. And so yeah, but in the very beginning we were doing, or I was doing traditional, first time home buyers and a little bit of a move up. And of course, the numbers and the dollars back in those days were a lot different than they are now.
But
uh,
they went a lot further than they do now too.
they
So
went a lot
yeah.
further. I mean, it was pretty typical for me to be all in for the acquisition, rehab, and the whole bit for less than 100 grand.
Yeah. The
And
good old
now,
days, huh? Well,
I
maybe
mean,
not. I mean, now you're in a much higher level, but there's more zeros and there's more zeros on the end of the
yes,
profit as well. So,
yes, yeah,
so
true.
when you kind of made the switch to high end, was that accidental? Was that on purpose? Like if you think back to that first high end deal you did 5, 6 years ago, how did that come to happen?
I would say that it it was probably a little bit of both, a little
Yeah.
bit accidental, a little bit of intentional. I had multiple negotiations going on with multiple properties at the time. And most of those were, again, a little more of the middle of the road type properties.
Yeah.
Um, but I did have this one higher end property that I was negotiating on. And I just noticed automatically that there was a lot less people trying to get involved in that.
Mm.
The negotiations actually went a little easier and a little quicker. So my wheels started turning, and so we won that deal. We completed it. We sold it, and I said, wonder wonder what would happen here. So that was kind of my first
Yeah.
foray into the higher end stuff was and that's basically how it happened in a nutshell. And then as I started going after more higher ends, again, as I talked to wholesalers and different people that I got these properties through, I just found it to be a little easier. I found it to be a little easier from the acquisition side, less
Yeah.
competition, but also even on the when we go to sell the homes,
Really?
um, the buyers are typically a little more critical. So you've got to do a good job,
Okay.
obviously, and you're dealing with higher end finishes and appliances and those sort of things. But you also, when it comes to them, surprisingly, a lot of the people, the end buyers that buy that segment of property are paying cash. And the ones that are financing are typically in a little better financial position. So you don't run into some of the financing issues, appraisal
Yeah.
issues and, credit issues and, debt to income ratios and things like that.
And people not qualify, making an offer, not
Correct.
qualifying. They
Correct.
kind of weed themselves out in the process.
They weed themselves out, right? So
Yeah.
we find that even going into the front end, there's less competition and there's less aggravation, I guess, if for the lack of a better term, on the back end when we go to sell. So
Isn't that kind of true with all businesses? It seems like the low level clients that pay the least are the biggest pain in the butt,
yes,
and the folks that pay the most are the most pleasant to work with, and typically the less demanding, which is
yes,
counterintuitive, right?
right.
That's
Yeah, it's true. Again, you cannot cut corners on these higher
no,
end. You've got to it's got to be right. We'll even go back on these as well. We pretty much do them on all of our flips at this point, but we'll even go in with a home inspection afterwards, and have them kind of go behind us, and then that's part of our punch list. So we've got about five that are kind of coming to the end as we speak that we're
yeah,
rounding off. So we're working on home inspections on those now, and then we'll add that to any punch list items. So, but that's a little different with that higher end is because you'll have yeah, they're a little more critical as far as they want things right, but they're also paying a lot of money, so they
yeah,
should.
fair enough. So forgive me, what do you mean by punch list?
Well, like after everyone's out, we'll go through myself along with project managers. Depends on where it's located. Now, I
Yeah.
don't go to all of these because we're in a pretty big geographical area,
Mhm.
but my project managers will go through and they will blue tape, punch list. So anything that they see that is not right, they'll put it on a list or they'll put a piece of blue tape on it, and
Okay.
then we'll typically have a punch crew that will go back and take care of all these little things. So they're just little things. The paint was blemished here, or there
Mm.
was a scratch over here, or whatever that is. But they
Just those
like
little details, those
just those
little
little
nitpicky things
right.
that especially this high level, high end clientele might pick up on and would turn them off from the house.
Correct. Correct.
Very, very cool. Now, tell me a little bit. We were talking a little bit off camera that you do not only high end flips, but you do a pretty high volume of flips even at this high level. So what does that kind of look like? What does a typical month or a year worth of flips look like for your business, Leon?
Well, I would say for many years, the average was around 35 per year.
Yeah.
Now we're in the process of trying to scale that. So I'm scaling my team.
Mhm.
Our immediate goal for this year, for 2024, was 100. Now we are not going to make that goal. We're going to miss that goal a bit, but it's still the goal. We'll roll into that with 2025 as well. But yeah, the immediate goal right now with this is to be turning about 100 a year. So
Wow. That's a significant tripling of the size of your business. So that's
yes.
pretty impressive. Very, very cool. What do you find works best for you for generating leads when it comes to properties um, in this kind of price range that you're looking at?
Well, so we get there's multiple funnels of leads coming in. Uh, we deal a lot with wholesalers, and a lot of there are some wholesalers that will deal with the more higher end properties,
Mm.
especially if they know they have a buyer. So I let it be known that I'm not scared of these. This is kind of what I want. So we get quite a few in through wholesalers. Um,
Again, because not so much competition, right? You don't have too many
Correct,
people beating down
correct,
the doors for these properties.
correct.
Cool.
Um, the other area that we get quite a few are through probate attorneys and estate attorneys, um, with some more higher net worth type folks. And most of those are not. There's no financial distress necessarily. It's
Mm.
more they just want it off their plate. They just don't want to deal with it. So they don't want to deal with contractors and listing it and all the stuff that you have to go through to get it to a marketable state. They just simply don't want to deal with it. Um, and then again, we've got probate attorneys, we have estate attorneys. I have been doing this so long that I do have quite a few folks that just reach out to me on a yearly basis and say, "Hey, my grandparent passed away, and I don't know what to do with this.
Mm.
I just want to get the money and I want out. I don't know
Yeah.
contractors. I don't want to deal with it." And that's pretty common. I mean, that's a pretty common conversation. So, but I would say that probably those four legs are where most of my deals come from. Now, I do have, I would say maybe a fifth is I've got some real estate agents that deal more with higher end, but a lot of these properties are off market.
Mm.
They're off market properties. They may even be like pocket listings. So we have purchased enough of those that they will come to us, kind of up front and say, "Hey, I've got this coming down the pipeline. Are you interested?" And when it's where we can take you to it, we will. And they know if I like it and the numbers make sense, then we'll pull the trigger on it. So yeah, so I would say those are really where most of those leads come from. I do not do any direct solicitation or wholesaling or anything like that. I'm strictly an in buyer. Um, so yeah, that's where I would say
That,
those five
yeah,
pillars.
no, well, that makes a lot of sense. That way you could just focus on your area of specialty, which is renovating and getting these projects sold. I have a
Right.
question for you, Leon. I'm curious. Obviously, the numbers change when you're getting into these high level flips. My question is, do the percentages change very much with these kind of deals? So I'm not a flipper myself, but I've been around flippers and I'm familiar enough with it that I know that quite often you have to be able to get the property at 50 or 60 cents on on the end dollar
Right.
as your upfront purchase, plus renovation costs, holding costs, all that kind of stuff. Have you noticed any big change with those ratios with
No.
these high end properties? No, same
Not
thing.
not not really. They're
Yeah.
still basically the same.
Yeah.
There is a formula that I use as sort of a barometer as to whether I'm going to try to pursue it or not.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't mean that it's got to fit within that formula for me to take the property, but
Mm.
at least it's sort of again, I guess more of a barometer of, hey, it kind of fits within there.
Yeah.
I'll take a deeper look because if it's way outside of those numbers, I probably
Don't
just
even
want you to
bother.
take a second look at it.
So do you base that on after repaired value, or what's kind of your rule of thumb whether something's worth taking a look at further?
Yeah, so my rough formula is it's really simple. I start off with the after repaired value.
Yeah.
Say for easy math, if we think it's going to be, $1 million after everything's done,
Yeah.
then we will take 65% of that after repaired value minus rehab cost.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
if we're at a million, 650 on the acquisition, and say it's got 150 in rehab, we're going to back that out, and then that's kind of the number that we're looking for. Now again, I have a little bit of a tolerance. I'll go from 65 up to about 72, 73%.
Okay.
And that's if it falls anywhere in there, and even if it's maybe slightly out of that, what kind of can make a decision for me whether to purchase this property or not would be the extent of the rehab and the time that it would take. So if it's
Mm,
just very cosmetic, we can be in and out in a very short period of time, 60 days or less, then I may go to a higher number on that
mhm.
just so I can get in and get out.
Yeah.
Keep my folks busy, keep the contractors busy, that sort of thing. Now they're busy, so I don't have too many problems keeping them busy. But yeah, in that kind of situation, that's where I may go to a little bit higher number,
Yeah.
if it's just very cosmetic and we can get in and out real quick.
Very, very cool. So before we jumped on the call, Leon, I was checking out your Facebooks, lurking around on the onlines there, checking things out. And I was fascinated by something you did a few months ago for one of your properties. Uh, there was a theme-based renovation party. So tell us a little bit about that. What was it? How did it work? Why did you do it that way? Just kind of paint the picture for us because I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, so it's actually the first time we've done that. So the renovation party was when I moved to Atlanta. I've not actually been to one of these, but I have seen in some of the real estate investor groups that I'm a part of. I've seen some, kind of rumblings of renovation parties, and I thought, well, that's pretty interesting.
Hmm.
And I've had it on my radar to go to one. I just haven't. They always kind of come at an odd time where I'm just wrapped up in something and I can't go. So my project manager, that actual property was in North Carolina. And so I called her and I said, hey, I'd like to do a renovation party. So of course, first thing she's like, well, I have no idea what that is. And I said,
Yeah, that's
well,
kind of,
I
yeah,
said, I don't really know what it is either, but it kind of sounds good.
yeah,
So
sounds cool.
we took that term and kind of put our own definition to it, I guess. Now I'm not saying this is right. This is just kind of what we did. But I said, so let's have a party where we can invite basically whoever wants to come.
Mm,
So and we don't want the house to be 100% complete, maybe at around 80, 85 percent complete, so they can still see what's going on.
mm.
And so we'll invite, the subs, we'll invite local realtors, mayor of the town, city council. In that particular town, there was they have a historical society. We invited members of the historical society. This home is on the historical registry. We actually bought two of them, and they're side by side, so we're doing both of them simultaneously. And
And the theme of the renovation party was a roaring 20s
it was Roaring
renovation party.
Twenties.
Yeah.
So this now that I cannot take credit for that. That was actually Sarah, the project manager. That was her doing.
Uh-huh.
So she said, I think we should do a Roaring Twenties theme because both of these homes were purchased in one was built in 1928, and one was built in 1929.
Oh, wow.
So that's where that came from. So I'll have to give her 100%. All I did was show up in a tuxedo. That was it. But she we had one of the contractors had a 1928, I think, Model A car that we had out front. You may have saw some pictures of that on
Yeah.
Facebook. Everyone come dressed in like 20s attire. Again, I just came in like a tux, but a lot of people just really, it turned out really good. We had a really good turnout. I don't remember the exact number, but it was maybe 75, 80 people.
Nice.
We had it catered, we had food. It turned out really, really, it was a ton of fun. We had a a swing. He played music. He was a musician, but he
Yeah.
played 20 swing music.
Roaring 20s stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
came in and played music for us. So we had a live, entertainer. It was just really a really cool event, and really look forward to doing something like that again. So
Very cool. So instead of it kind of takes the place of doing an open house, right? Because you're getting a whole
right,
bunch of people in there and you're doing it while it's still partially towards the end of the renovations. So
right,
it's pretty much, like you said, probably about 85% done. So there's still some work going on, but more or less they get a really good idea of what the
right,
finished product's going to look like.
right.
So did that help with the sale, or is that is that property still under construction
That
rentals?
property, that was a massive, and I mean massive project.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
So we're actually wrapping that up. We should be finished with that Friday, actually day after tomorrow. We'll
Very
be
cool.
wrapping that up, and we'll have the cleaners and the landscaping crew coming back in to do some touch ups, and then that should be on the market. We're hoping by Wednesday of next week.
Now, do you
But
think you got some hot leads within those people,
yes.
75 people that came out? Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And of course, what we did find out is that, the word spread around town. This is a fairly small town.
Yeah.
So the word spread around town, quite a bit that, hey, this is what they've done. This house looks fantastic. And so, yeah, we feel like it will probably sell pretty quickly. And that's another one, it's a higher end. I think we'll be listing that at somewhere around 1.3, 1.4, somewhere in that range.
Now you're still going to list it with a realtor, or are you going to take a crack at it yourselves with your
No,
internally generated list?
we typically will list with
Yeah.
a realtor. Uh, I like to get the full exposure.
Yeah.
Now, once in a blue moon, we may wrap up one and we may get a buyer before it's listed, but we typically try to. I typically do not allow folks to come into the project until it's
Mhm.
100% finished. I
Well,
kind
you
of
know
learned the
what?
hard way.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like each person's in their lane, right? You've got a good realtor, they know what they're doing, you know that you can rely on them.
Right.
Let them have the business, let them do all the showings, all that kind of stuff. It just makes your life so much easier, right?
Yeah, and I'm a big advocate of staying in your lane.
Yeah.
Even within the flipping, there's a lot of this stuff I know I simply don't know how to do. Don't want to know how to do it. That I hire people to do that, and
Yeah.
I stay in my lane. I'm good at finding deals. I'm good at negotiating deals, and that's
And
I just want
crunching the numbers, make sure it is the deal's a
yeah,
deal, right?
yeah.
That's
I mean, it's so I stay in my lane.
very cool. Leon, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing some of your insights into
Absolutely.
high volume, high value flips. If people want to find out more, connect with you, Leon, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, just my name, Leon Ezzell. There's only like a couple of us that in existence, so it's pretty easy to find me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook, I'm on a bit, Instagram, LinkedIn. I think I've got a TikTok channel, but I'm not really sure how to use that. But
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your success. And I wish you all the best for scaling up to those 100 deals a year. That's exciting.
thank you so much, and I appreciate you having me on your show, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.